Oh, hey, everybody. It's another Worlds Collide Wednesday. I am your host, the Schwantz27, and it's the Final Fantasy VI Randomizer. So, what are we doing here as we're seeing four different runners flash across the screen? This is basically an open world Final Fantasy VI Randomizer where the goal is to unlock and defeat Final Kefka. And you see, we have three different objectives to choose from, and you could do two of these three: recruiting 8 characters, finding 11 espers, or defeating 4 dragons. So those are the gold numbers on the bottom. And remember, there's only 2 of 3 that we have to do for this particular flag set. This is the Tournament of the Month finals, and this Tournament of the Month seed is a barter seed. So what does that mean? It basically means that all of the items sell for 1,000 GP, and everything you can buy in a shop is 2,000 GP. So basically, you sell 2 items to get 1 item. That's sort of how it goes. So we're selling our junk to getting our treasure, right? As it were. So let's go over a few other things in the objectives here. Kefka's Tower skip, as we see on Zenobian's bottom screen, is you need to complete all 3 of the objectives: 8 characters, 9 espers, 3 dragon. I'm just giving our runners a 2-minute warning and reminder: 2 of 3 objectives for unlock AP. This way, the runners don't think that they have to get all 3 things. What else do we have to do? Well, in order to unlock all of the sword techs, which I don't see. Oh, there you go. In order to unlock 8 sword techs, you have to do 2 of those 4 objectives: defeating the Phoenix Cave Dragon, doing the South Figaro Cave check, doing the first part of the Floating Continent, that's the arrival, or doing the Mogla's attack at Terra. In order to get a high tier item, as you see on Zenobian's screen, Objective D, you need to do 2 of finding 11 characters, 16 espers, completing 41 checks, or defeating the Sealed Gate Cave Ninja. I don't think we're going to get the high tier item, given that the Sealed Cave Ninja is probably the only reasonable one. However, we need to find Terra in order to complete that. So I don't foresee us doing that, because 41 checks is about 3 times more than what our runners would normally do in a given seed. So we got 8 characters, 11 espers, and 4 dragons. We do start off with 3 characters, and we do start with Y NPC remove, which does mean that we could sequence break into Mount Zozo and into the Figaro engine room to unlock the ancient castle in order to access all of the dragons in the seed, even if we don't have the characters that unlock those particular dragons. So that's something to keep in mind. The other things are that the Morph command has been changed into Blitz, Steel into Shock, Sword Tech into Magitech, and Throw into Rage. And the commands are shuffled amongst everybody. So we will see, or we might see rather, those 4 commands. They are definitely showing up in the pool, with the other ones being random unique here. Our scaling is for characters, espers, and dragons ×2. So anytime you recruit a character, find an esper, defeat a dragon, all of your enemies go up 2 different levels. And since we start with 3 characters, that means everything's on level 6, while we are at level 3 to start off with. So we're going to give our runners the 30-second warning. If anybody has any questions about the game in the chat, just hit me up. I will be here. Basically, what is randomized in this Final Fantasy VI Randomizer? Basically, the items and shops and chests are random. The characters that you start with are random. Their abilities are random. The espers and characters are also in random places throughout the world. The spells that are taught on espers are also random. So, and the bosses in this particular seed are shuffled amongst each other. So we won't see the same boss twice. However, they'll be in different spots, maybe in their vanilla location, or at least that's a possibility anyway. So this, if you want to roll a similar seed to this, you would go into our Discord. So there is a link in the chat to our Discord, and there is a feature called Speedbot, and it could roll different flag sets and presets. And this one is Tournament Space Barter, if you would like to do that. So let's give our runners the good luck, have fun, and they will be off and running and starting momentarily. And that's when the fun starts. That's when I'll have to try and sync everybody up and figure out what the heck is going on in this seed. I do anticipate that the 8 characters and 4 dragons, or 11 espers and 4 dragons, will probably be the way to go to unlock Final Kefka here. Finding 8 characters and 11 dragons is more than our normal standard 6 characters and 9 espers unlock for Final Kefka. And going to defeat dragons along the way just means that you'll get a lot of XP, a lot of MP, a pretty nice vanilla drop, and a high tier item as well. So that's sort of, I'm expecting our runners to go that route of, hey, let's go and do checks first that have dragons in them, so I can at least start accumulating my dragon counter. And then depending upon what I find, maybe I'll go and hedge my bets and go towards 8 characters, since I'm already starting off at 3 and I only need to find 5 more. And it looks like we are off and running. We do get dried meat for free along with an Umaro start here. We have Fools and Rage on Gao, and I completely missed what was on Realm. So Gao has his vanilla Rage. Unlike in the normal game, in Worlds Collide, you do not have to leap on the Veldt in order to learn your rages. What you can do instead is just fight the enemies at their mobs, and you will learn that particular rage. So in the top right, we do see Dragonhorn, Thunder Shield, Genji Helmet as 3 items in a row from Falcon Hit there in the Narsh shed. Zenobian also in Narsh at the classroom there. Javinator also in Narsh, this time at the armor shop, and you see everything is 2,000 GP, and all of your items sell for 1,000 GP. So that's the point here of a barter shield, is to find some nice things like that force shield in a shack there. Mega elixirs for Javinator. That unfortunately also means that consumables that are normally pretty cheap are also 2,000 GP. So you have to be careful what you find in this particular race, because you have to make sure that you have your consumables there. We already start with dried meat. All of our runners get it. There's some elixirs for 1 free Fitz, who's the only runner deviating from the plan that everybody did in the upper right. He was in the returner's hideout. Interestingly, nobody went to the world of Ruin Marsh. With Y NPC removed, you could sort of sequence break things. What it was intended to do was to move pesky NPCs that get in your way out of the way by hitting the Y button. However, it had the unintended side effect of allowing you to move doors out of the way, essentially, because the NPCs, or rather the doors that block off certain checks, are coded as NPCs, and that's Realm with Magitech on Javinator's screen. You've got Siegfried and Mover and Harpy Eye. Those are some of the decent rages I pulled out when Javinator showed us them. Siegfried does Flare, but he is susceptible to a lot of different elements, so use that one with caution. Harpy Eye is Arrow, and I completely forgot the other one that I said. So Phase is also another good rage that is Blowfish, as Arrow points out in chat. There's the Narsh weapon shop. It's either an Atma weapon or a Minerva. And just as an aside, I did not mention this because I didn't actually look it up here. The no free progression flag is set to false. So you can get 3 characters and espers, which basically means if a check doesn't have any guaranteed fighting in it, we may, in fact, be able to get a character or an Esper reward instead of just a high tier item. The Zenobian gave us our first look at the shack. Falcon Hit and Jav in Albrook, Fitz in South Figaro. The basement is full of treasure chests, so we'll see what he pulls out of here. Also, thank you to Trenton of the SpeedGaming staff for doing all the race thinking while I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. There's a lot going on with 4 different runners on the screen. Zenobian is in the world of Ruin South Figaro, and the outdoor chests are actually different between the South Figaro and the World of Balance and the South Figaro and the World of Ruin. However, the chests in the basement are shared between both of them, meaning if you get it in one world, you can't in the other. And that is Setzer right away for Falcon Hit. In the belt, we did start out with dried meat, and we had 3 characters, so this makes sense. Take off the Moogle Charm, let Yeti smash, and if you don't fight any grind fights, you will always get a Lobo there. That is a dancing Setzer. We'll see if there's any good things on his dances. They are randomized as well. Plasma and Landslide is the second dance, is very nice to see. Plasma, a thunder ability, and Landslide is basically a faster flare. 58,000 GP for Javinator for the Tzen Thief, and it looked like it was an item and not an Esper. So the thing about barter seeds is you're not usually carrying around that much cash because everything only sells for 1,000, right? So the Tzen Thief and the auction house, which normally sell Espers, usually are kind of out of reach in these particular seeds. Falcon Hit heading into the Serpent Trench, which is the second of Gao's checks. I love starting with Gao, simply because you could do this Delt into Serpent Trench check. There's 3 to 5 force encounters in here, but there aren't any bosses. So it's very good to sort of level up to get past scrolling there, or scaling there, rather. Yeah, I think the choices were Atma Weapon versus Minerva. So that's one of those of, do I want defense now or do I want offense later? Unfortunately, Javinator finds out you can only sequence break into the collapsing house into Zen in the world of Ruin. In the world of Balance, if you yeet the woman standing in front of the house, you don't actually get to go into the house. That's a really niche thing that I'm sure that not a lot of people know or think about. But I tried it one time and it didn't work, so. Anyway, Falcon Hit has 1 HP on one character and 0 HP on another, so he's going to get one more fight here before taking a break in the cave. Something to keep in mind with Worlds Collide is that there is this concept of, ooh, Illumina on Fitz's screen. There we go. Unfortunately, only Yeti can use it now, but that is the best sword in the game right there for 2,000. Where is he? World of Ruin, South Figaro. So if we do get Edgar at some point in the speed, you can actually go to South Figaro in the World of Ruin, and everything is half off if you put him at the front of the party. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some real cheap Illuminals right away. So Worlds Collide has this concept called character gating, where the world events in the game are only open based on what characters you currently have recruited, right? So in our case, we're starting 3 characters. Gao, Realm, and Umaro open up 5 different checks. Yeti Cave is for Umaro, where you recruit him in the vanilla game. Gao has the Velt, which you can do in either world, or the Serpent Trench. Ice Rod's there for Zenobian in Nikea, so going to definitely stack up on those. That's not usually a shop a lot of runners go to. However, in a barter seed, the more shops you go to, the better goodies you might end up getting. So Realm also opens up the Esper Mountain check, which is where you find her in vanilla, and in Owser's Mansion for the World of Ruin, where you recruit her in the second half of the game. Some other decent items, including snow mufflers there, which Yeti can naturally equip, and he naturally has, but it looked like everybody could wear them, so that is one of the best defensive pieces of armor in the game. Absorbs ice attacks and has extremely high physical defense. Little Super Ball action there for Fitz as well in the item shop of, I believe it's Albrook, World of Ruin, right? So maybe that is what he's going to decide to crack the seed open. Super Balls deal a random multiple of 256 damage to a random amount of targets, and that's pretty good very early in the game because those numbers are pretty high relative to the scaling of our enemies, right? Everything is at level 6 except for Falcon Hit because he has 4 characters, so his stuff's at level 8. Let's see, Javinator chooses the Minerva, so he's going for later game stuff, and that is Sabin at the end of the Serpent Trench, so already Falcon Hit is up to 5 characters. So I'm assuming Falcon Hit is probably going to err on the side of, let me go to checks where characters are normally available. As he accidentally yeets that annoying relic kit out of the way. Maybe he'll have to come back in and reload this in order to find out what's at the relic shop. The Curse Shield is at 6 battles there from Javinator, so that is a low enough number that I would probably try to uncurse the shield. Umaro and Gogo cannot uncurse the shield, famously. However, we do have Gao, who has tools, which is not bad, but certainly is a much better option than the Magitech Realm, which is one of the most powerful commands in the game, based on your magic power, and Realm's magic power is usually the highest since her vanilla magic power is the highest. Falcon Hit continuing onward with just going at checks here. He's in the Imperial Camp, which is one of Sabin's 5 different checks. Sabin also opens up Barren Falls, Phantom Train, Mount Colts, and the Collapsing House. Fitz finding a Master Pug there in the Classroom Monster in a Box. Not what we're looking for. Usually we're looking for the Katana Soul in order to drop an offering and a boatload of money. However, in this seed, with the GP multiplier of 1, it's a less boatload of money, but it's still a decent amount. So usually the first 10 minutes or so of a Worlds Collide seed is looting and shopping to see what we've got. Falcon Hit's really the only person that has gone towards, you know, making progression or doing any checks, really. But it's not surprising in a barter seed that most runners are looking at a ton of shops, because you never know what you're going to find in there, right? It's like a box of chocolates, chat. Alright, I didn't see which option Fitz chose. I glanced at his screen as after he made the choice. Looks like Zenobian has also found those Illuminas, so I'm going to write that down for him here. Unfortunately, Umaro is the only person that can equip it at the moment, and Umaro can never do a MP double damage proc for an Illumina because Umaro can't gain MP. Javinator taken off the Moogle Charm here, so we do give our runners 3 Moogle Charms to start out with, which means you can avoid all those random encounters. However, if you really want to, you can take off the Moogle Charm and gain some levels and some MP up along the way before you do anything fancy. That is Zenobian's 4th character there with Setzer, and that is a soldier fighting other soldiers, little mutiny on Falcon Hit screen. So this will not be a character, of either be an Esper or an item. And since he's already got 5 characters, he's maybe not hoping for an Esper, but you do want to get some spells eventually. Javinator already has Merton strats going. So using the Mover Rage with some other stuff that he must have found somewhere in his shopping route. Merton is an AoE spell that hits everything on the screen, including your own party. It's a fire and wind elemental attack. So if you have either fire or wind resistance, then you could damage the enemies while not inflicting damage upon yourself. First Esper of the seed is in Falcon Hit's pocket there at the Imperial Camp. Zenobian diving into the Serpent Trench. 1 free Fitz, meanwhile. I don't know if anybody peeked the Umaro Cave. In the World of Balance, at this very location, you can see if anything comes out of that little hole on the right-hand side. That'll tell you what's in Umaro's Cave. If it's nothing, then it's either an Esper or an item. If it's a character, then we'll get a character there. So it looks like he's going up the World of Ruin Narsh, which does have a dragon up here. So remember, I mentioned that we need to get 2 of the 3 of the unlocks of 8 characters, 11 Espers, or 4 dragons, and that's character number 6 for Falcon Hit at the Colingen Inn with Gogo. Alright, and here's the gold dragon at the top here. We'll see if Fitz has got what it takes. So Javinator picking that Minerva will nullify fire damage. I don't know what Yeti has. Maybe he found a Rage Ring somewhere, or a Blizzard Orb. And maybe some Ice Shields, too. And that's our first dragon of the sea dead there for 1 free Fitz with the gold dragon down. You will get a bunch of XP, a bunch of MP, and a high tier item drop in the form of a force shield. I'm just writing down some notes here for later. All right, Falcon Hit is in Mount Zozo. So Mount Zozo is normally a check that is only accessible to Cyan. However, with Y NPC remove, as we mentioned, we could actually unrust this door by just hitting the Y button. And oh boy, it is Poltergeist at the Tritalk spot. So those of you who are subscribed to the Worlds Collide Twitch channel, you already know what to do. Thankfully, he's got some super balls, and it looks like he's going to be cracking some shields here as well. So if you use the shield as a consumable, it does a maximum damage, unblockable tier 3 version of that particular spell. Fitz is in a bit of trouble here, having 2 of his characters getting sat down by the spicy chicken, as it were. We'll see if he can pull this out. Meanwhile, Falcon Hit is taking a save right before this dragon here. So one of the things about sequence breaking into Mount Zozo is you can acquire a dragon, and that is Fitz killing Poltergeist. Right out of the gate, that is character number 5 for Zenobian, and a quick reset there for Falcon Hit. It was the blue dragon. We saw it very briefly. So maybe he is reconfiguring some equipment. Nope, he's going right back at it again. So Blue Dragon is the water dragon, and we don't have a lot of water resistance in Final Fantasy VI. And even worse, if you've got a flame shield on, water damage deals twice as much if you've got that shield. So that's not a fun thing to have happen. Zenobian taking his recent acquisition of Sabin and going to Barren Falls. Fitz, meanwhile, did not get an Esper at the top of Tritalk Cliff. I did not see what it was, but it's not an Esper on his tracker. And Javinator, after about 16 minutes of looting and shopping, is finally deciding to head to the Veld in order to pick up their first character here with Setzer. Blue Dragon is weak to lightning, so that Plasma Dance is actually going to do decent damage to the Blue Dragon. However, Falcon Hit does get past it, albeit with a slightly smaller party, able to gain all of the XP in that particular fight. So that is Falcon Hit's first dragon down as well. So it looks like we've seen the strategy from our 2 top runners. And by top, I mean on the top of your screen here. Where they are going to be where they are going for dragons first. All right, and that is Umaro at the bottom of Barren Falls. So that's yet another character for Zenobian. Or rather, I'm sorry, that's Edgar at the bottom of Barren Falls. And Alexander behind the dragon there at Mount Zozo. Ice 3 on that, so that's a very nice spell to find. Let's do a little bit more crappy here to make get rid of some of the black bars on your screen. Tentacles fight over on Fitz's screen is not very fun. Falcon Hit heading to the collapsing house, which is one of Sabin's checks. Fitz barely getting past those tentacles there. Not very nice very early on in the seed because they do a flat set of damage to you. And it looks like that was also another item at the Yeti Cave as well. Oof. Yeah, Falcon Hit did get an Illumina drop from the Blue Dragon. Everyone else found them in the shops. However, nobody has yet found Katana Soul here, and with access to Confuser as part of the Magitech set of options, that means we could do this particular fight the vanilla way and use Muddle or Confuse and have Katana Soul Slayer Edge himself, and that is an easy offering there for Falcon Hit. That'll be nice to pair with the Atma weapon later on in the game. Meanwhile, we've got Senor, Scrontium, Sir, Senior Behemoth here at Zenobian's spot. Two-part boss. First part weak to fire. Second part weak to Pearl, but also susceptible to instant death. Alright, so Falcon Hit is continuing to dig in the Monster Hunter boxes in spite of already getting an offering. Maybe he's just looking for more items to sell. This is a pretty free fight if you can get the instant death off on Presenter. And we do have access to that with Exfer. There it is. Sayonara Head. As Zenobian finishes that fight barely, all of his party members in either double or single-digit HP, but that's his first Esper with Shout, and it's got the flare spell on it. A little bit lengthy, but does do damage that is non-elemental and ignores defense. So in case we get a relatively nasty boss, maybe we could do that. Sitting out on the dock, laying out in the sun there for Javinator is Sabin with health. So that's his fifth character. Falcon Hit sees a ghost holding up the collapsing house, so this will be either an Esper or an item. And Zenobian is going to follow Falcon Hit in there, and these runners are going to give us a high five here. So One Free Fitz is heading into the Magitech factory. Now, this is normally something that's reserved for Celeste. However, you did see him remove the little guards that block the Magitech factory when you do not have Celeste. So that is a way to sequence break into this check. It's a three-parter. You get an Esper item reward at the first two parts, and you get a guaranteed Esper or character at the last part. Plus, you get a bunch of levels in between with having to take a ride on the minecart ride with 3 forced encounters and 2 bosses. So, I'm guessing feeling annoyed that both of his World of Ruin Narsh plays were dead checks, he's heading into the Magitech factory hoping to get guaranteed progression at the end of this here. Javinator is heading over to Barren Falls, and even though his characters are on very low HP, you do get a story heal prior to jumping into the falls and off the cliff, so he doesn't have to worry about using a sleeping bag or a tent, and he could save that precious money to barter for other items. This is an Ultros Chupon at One Free Fitz's side, so that's rather unfortunate for him. So Falcon Hit did grab his third Esper out of the collapsing house, and this is going to be Zenobian's second. So the left-hand side of the screen has shiny stones, and the right-hand side of the screen does not. That was Ultros 2 for Jav, and he's going to get his 6th character at the bottom here, because that was Edgar, if I recall. Ugh, the dead checks continue for Fitz, as that is a force armor. Sixth member there for Javinator. And we got number 128 here on on One Free Fits' screen. So I'm going to switch to his audio because I know everybody loves the Magitech Factory music, so we'll do that. Oh, Pero, that's absolutely right. I completely forgot about that. Let me make an announcement on the Discord first, and then I will give you guys the I'll give you guys the goodies on what the next week's flags are for the Coliseum. Finally, an Esper there for One Free Fits, breaking that long sequence of dead checks. Alright, so now that I've posted my announcement in the Discord, can we get a drum roll, please? The next week's flags for the Coliseum 2, so this will apply to upper bracket and lower bracket, is going to be Locke's Knife. So that means we're going to start with Locke and Always Steal. That means that we are also going to get plus 10 speed, plus 5 vigor, minus 5 magic to start, with auto haste as the Coliseum reward. And we don't start with any money, but we can steal stuff. Shops are higher priced, 150 to 200%, and they're random tiered, meaning there's more junk in there. And we also only get to sell stuff for 1/4 of what the price is. So it's definitely going to be a poverty seed, leaning into the treasure hunter that is Locke. Chests are 100% random, and we could buy some Super Balls in the shops. However, they are going to be very expensive at 100 to 150%. Zenobian takes down his next dragon there, and One Free Fit is on the minecart ride, heading out to the end of this check here. Javinator grabbing his first Magicite after grabbing his 7th character at the Colon Jinin. And Falconid is the first one of our runners taking on a second dragon of the seed with the gold dragon here. One Free Fit is going up against the Three Stooges. Yeah, so question from the chat, Master Mars. The golden requirements, you only need 2 of the 3. So you need 11 Espers, 8 characters, or 4 dragons, and you need 2 of those, not all 3. And for Kefka's Tower Skip, you need to get 8 characters, 9 Espers, and 5 dragons. All 3 of them you need for the skip. So if you get 8 characters and 4 dragons, maybe you'll have 9 Espers, and maybe you just go fight another dragon for the skip. I think that that's probably the way that I would go if it were me. Starting with 3 characters means you only have to find 5 more of them, right? And this seed has been very front-loaded with characters as we're looking at the numbers here from our different runners. And it's Terra at the end of the Magitech ride. Oof! And it's also Goddess. Yick. Yeah, so we also have YNPC set to remove in this seed, meaning that we can sequence break into any of the checks that are locking dragons behind certain characters. We can sequence break into Mount Zozo, and we can sequence break into the Ancient Castle. All of the other dragons are normally accessible. So those are the 2 that normally aren't, because you need Cyan for Mount Zozo, you need Edgar for Ancient Castle. And we're going to get to see here Javinator doing the sequence break into Mount Zozo in order to fight a dragon. Zenobian will get his second dragon down, and we see Falcon hit tangoing with the spicy one. And welcome SpeedGaming 4 with a huge raid party. It is 59 of you. Welcome, welcome. We are playing Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. It's an open world Final Fantasy VI randomizer. If anybody has any questions about what we're watching, let me know in the chat. And it looks like Falcon Hit has a offering sniper, perhaps, on his Gao right there with the Rage command, so you love to see it happen. Fitz finally deciding to visit the Veld, as all of our other runners have so far. Javinator is going to grab his second Esper here. Zenobian takes down his second dragon. And, oh, double Gigantos fight. It's too bad that on the Veld you don't gain any XP, because this would be really nice. But that also means he must have ran across this at some point during his run. So... he also looks to have a bit more levels than our other runners as well, Fitz, just based on HP totals, although that could be a little skewed because we have two of our runners fighting Poltergeist, who is known to decrease your HP on you. Yeah, so as I mentioned, Magitech Factory, as Green Monkey points out in the chat, you get to fight 2 bosses and 3 forced encounters on one part of the check. So that's where your levels might come from. However, all of our other runners went through the Serpent Trench, which is 4 forced encounters. So you can kind of sort of think of it that way as offsetting itself. Another raid, this time from SpeedGaming 129. Welcome, welcome. We are watching Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the open world randomizer for Final Fantasy VI. And our runners are running in the finals for the Tournament of the Month. And in this particular month, it is a barter seed, which basically means that everything sells for 1,000 GP and everything costs in shops 2,000 GP. So it's a matter of collecting stuff and trading it to get better stuff. I think that was Fitz's 5th character there on the Veld. Meanwhile, Javinator does take down the dragon there, so that's his first. Unfortunately, one of his characters was dead and unable to gain the large amount of XP from taking out the dragon. So Falconet decides to not remove the item from the carving there. You can decide whether or not you want to. However, you can't see exactly what it is unless you say yes. And once you say yes, you cannot get out of that fight without a reset. So he unfortunately finds the bad news that both of the checks in the top of Narsh are dead, and wanting to conserve that one warp stone, he decides to take the Walk of Shame out of Narsh there. Javinator following our other 2 runners with Narsh, as there's a high 5 with Falcon Hit going out with Jav going in. Zenobian going to hop down into the Yeti Cave, and one free Fitz is finding his Sriracha Senor Super Sister Scrontium Behemoth here. There's always a debate as to what the SR and SR Behemoth stands for. Yeah, Dirt Dragon is probably the scariest because you don't have a lot of earth resistance, and you'll counter basically every attack with Honed Tusk, which is a really powerful physical attack. Quake and Magnitude 8 and Landslide all deal a ton of damage as well. And if you are smart about it and like, well, I'll just cast Float on myself prior to the fight, and then he can't hurt me. Well, that doesn't necessarily work because Dirt Dragon can use a spell called 50 Gs, and it's not money. It's actually 50 gravity, I think, or something like that, and it will put you back down on the ground. Falcon Hit with Gogo is going to take himself into the Zone Eater Cave, so he's the only one I think that has Gogo right now. But this also means it's Bridge Troll time, so boys and girls in the chat, get your predictions. How many times are we going to see Falcon Hit Sabin bite the dust here? Alright, Fitz finagling up his party here. As Zenobian did, I think, reset out altogether there, so he is now going down to the South Figaro Cave in the World of Ruin in order to go do all of the Edgar stuff, which includes another dragon at Ancient Castle, and that is Mog there. So he'll get a 7th character, which is nice. Fitz deciding to search the sky, finding Ifrit. Weak to ice and absorbs fire. Falcon Hit getting by. It took him a little bit, but there were no bridge drops there. Not going to save, and uh-oh. Whew! He did not save in this room beforehand, and if that collapsing roof falls on you, it's a automatic GG, game over. Meta's 24 pointing out, at least with a float cast, you have the opportunity to just DPS him down. That is certainly true, because he doesn't necessarily cast 50 Gs all the time right away. So that is an option there. As Fitz and Falcon Hit both grab Espers from their respective checks. And Zenobian is going to find out what is on this pile of pasta, and it's some piranhas. Who ordered some fish with the linguine special here? Fitz also grabbing a 6th character from the Colon Jinin, so after a string of dead checks, it looks like he is back and cooperating with everybody. Falcon Hit taking a jump off of the falls, where he will get his 7th character at the bottom, and Javinator taking down Poltergeist for his dead check. Fitz sequence breaking into Mount Zozo here, as some of our runners have already done. That is not the right way. Yep, you gotta go left first. There we go. Ultros in a waterfall seems pretty appropriate, right, boys and girls? Alright, so that's Falcon Hit done with that match, and he'll get his character at the bottom. Was it a red cap that was the reward after spicy chicken? That's awful. Alright, Rizopus finally appears after either 5 through 55 seconds of fighting his piranhas. It always seems like the latter and never the former, though. Alright, Fitz gonna say hello here to this dragon as Zenobian gets his 7th character with Mog. Mog's got lore and natural magic, but deciding to keep him on the bench there with better options in tow. Obviously, cheap Illuminas mean that we're going to want to keep party members that can use them. And in Worlds Collide, everything that you could naturally equip is equipable by those characters, plus a random 33% chance at something you could not equip in the vanilla game. At least for this particular set of options. You could always tweak it one way or the other. Another dragon down, another Illumina in the pocket for Fitz. So, out of the characters we have, Edgar and Terra can naturally equip the Illumina. Remains to be seen which one of our other characters can. That is another Esper on the throne there with Zone Seek, Fire 3, Osmos, Break, Pearl. Lots of good spells on there. Falcon Hit took a look in Esper Mountain and saw that it wasn't a character. So, it looks like Falcon Hit is already just forgetting about Espers for the rest of the seed. The only thing that would be caution against that is we have to prepare for Final Kefka. It's the same battle every time. However, we do know that we need things like resistance to a instant death physical called Calmness at the end of Tier 3. We may also want some instant death to deal with 2 of the parts of Tier 1 and Tier 2. We also might want Mute in order to nullify out magic. So, without Espers teaching spells, we won't obviously have access to those things. So something to take a look at and keep in mind. Alright, Javinator is heading down to do the Edgar loop as well. With the engine room, and then opening up the engine room in order to go down to the ancient castle. It looks like Zenobian didn't go to the ancient castle. which is quite curious. Okay, he must have wanted to go back to the airship for some reason, and now he's going back. Unfortunately, the airship, much like Kefka's shoes, doesn't really like sand, so that's where we're at there. So let's get Zenobian and that wonderful Figaro music on. I bumped up the wrong person's stream. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, the only way to change party members is you have to go back to the airship. One Free Fitz, meanwhile, is heading over to Owser's Mansion, which is one of Realm's check. There's Bolt 3 on one of those Espers that Falconhead has, and he'll be happy to see Mog, because that'll be his 8th character, and then he'll obviously go down to the Ancient Castle and get his 3rd dragon, so he's close to unlocking Final Kefka here with this Edgar loop. Javinator will also be the same, and Zenobian is actually further ahead than both of them, having his 7th character, and this will be his 3rd dragon. So he'll just need to find another dragon, and speak of the Dirt Dragon, and he shall appear. Yep, so sets are with fixed dice, and Mog and Edgar swinging around big beefy swords with a Magitech realm means everything is going to die pretty quickly here for Zenobian. That is Javinator's 8th character there with Mog. So he needs to just kill 3 more dragons, and he's set for unlocking Final Kefka. That is an offering in a chest, and the 8th character there for Zenobian as well with Celeste. He's going to be very happy with that. So now he is 1 dragon away from Go Mode, and Celeste has Throw. So Throw is normally a great ability. However, in a barter seed where all of the items cost 2,000 GP, you're not going to be able to buy those cheap throwables like shurikens and elemental skeins. So Throw is a little bit less powerful in a barter seed for sure. Yeah, we could also just throw Illuminas, as Kirksey points out in the chat as well. So when you throw something, you deal damage for its battle power, and it's double damage, and it's the same damage from the back row, and it ignores defense. So that's a 255 battle power item, so you're going to get a maximum damage throw there. Fitz, unfortunately, getting another dead check in Owser's Mansion. So I think that's 4 for him in this flag set so far, which is really unfortunate. Falconet finally takes down his bathroom break boss there with Rosopas and the Piranhas. So he'll get his 8th character with Mog, and he's just got to go down to the Ancient Castle and fight a dragon. Zenobian, meanwhile, is on his way to the Opera House, and no, he's not here for the show. He's here for that dragon that's on the stage. One Free Fitz is heading into Mobliz, and he must have read what was on the sign, and it's a ghost down there, so he knows that it's probably an Esper. I'm guessing, because if it was just an item, he wouldn't have taken this check. Javinator grabbing his 9th character, Celeste, here. And this will be his 3rd dragon, actually. I miscounted. Because he already has 2. And that is Zenobian's 4th dragon down. So he's got Kefka Tower unlocked at 43 minutes and 40 probably seconds. So we'll see if he is comfortable with his levels. I don't foresee him going for skip, because he would have to kill one more dragon and acquire 5 more espers. So if you're just joining us, this is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide, the open world randomizer. And we did make an announcement a little bit earlier that for the next round of our event that's going on concurrently to this tournament of the month, we are doing the Colosseum. And there are different flag sets for each round. And for round number 4, we are going to be doing Locke's Knife as the flag set. That means we'll start with Locke and Steel. And there are some options that slightly tweak the standard flag set to lean into the theme. So for Locke, since he's a thief, treasure hunter, everything in shops is going to cost 150 to 200%, and you only get to sell stuff for a quarter of what it's normally worth. However, you get the ability to always steal from enemies, and the items in chests are 100% random, which means we'll probably see more higher-end stuff in there. All right, Zeno is first into KT as Javinator takes out his 3rd dragon there. And I think Falcon Hit is also on 3 dragons now. No, he didn't go down the Ancient Castle yet. Or did he? No, he did not. So what Falcon Hit might do is he might kill this dragon here, hop into Kefka's Tower, and there are 2 different dragons in Kefka's Tower that you can kill. So that might be what Falcon Hit's strategy is. So you don't have to unlock Final Kefka prior to hopping in Kefka's Tower. Yeah, so this week we're doing Gogo's Mirror for our Coliseum stuff. We have a lot of the matches queued up for tomorrow on our YouTube channel. That's YouTube FF6 Worlds Collide. We're also on Twitter at FF6WC, Instagram at FF6WC with no underscore in there. And you could join our Discord right from there. Yeah, so this week the upper bracket has the week off. Next week, Falcon Hit and Green Monkey are set to do some damage against one another. One Free Fitz is also still alive in the tournament in the upper bracket against Taco Mage. Zenobian is also still alive in the Coliseum in the upper bracket, going up against Ensign Wesley. And Javinator is in the lower bracket and has to go up against Drulith for his match sometime this week in order to advance. So that's going to be some pretty exciting stuff. Zeno taking a 5th dragon here. Either that or this is his 4th dragon and I've miscounted. So we'll see what happens after the message comes up, whether or not he unlocks Kefka Tower Skip. Thankfully, Fitz passed his level check on Doomgaze, and with all of the power that we have in this seed, Doomgaze is not long for this world as he is going to bite the dust. Unfortunately for Fitz, this is yet another piece of Magicite. He's really looking for some characters here, I'm thinking. Yeah, I was knocked out in the first 2 rounds by Zelfer and Jexvarok. Who are both very, very good runners. Both in Mega Elixir, while I'm down in Lowly Elixir. And we got Jav heading into the Opera House here for his final dragon. Falcon Hit is squaring up against Inferno. Then what he'll probably do is continue on and defeat one of those other dragons that we saw earlier. I'll be excited to see some of the races that have happened so far in round 3. I have my round 2 recap video set to go live sometime tomorrow on the Worlds Collide YouTube channel. It's a bit longer than the round 1 video because there are more matches with Chupon's Pit starting in the second week, and the races were a lot more exciting in round 2, I thought, than in round 1. There's a lot more to talk about as well, with Setzer's dice being kind of a quirky and weird flag set. Oh no, a bird to the face has Setzer stoned. Go mode there for Javinator, and this is going to be Falcon Hit's technical go mode there with the Skull Dragon. Let's see what's at the Inferno spot. It's number 24. So here's the interesting thing, is that Zenobian has overloaded his entire party here and is taking it up through the middle of the tower. We'll see if Falcon Hit decides to do the same, or if he warps out here and splits up his party 2-1-1. That'll certainly save some time walking through the tower. Fitz grabbing another Esper there for Unicorn. So he might end up getting to 11 Espers after all. So Fitz could have grabbed that Atma weapon from the World of Ruin Narsh weapon shop after defeating the Welk check. So you can get that other item that you say no to if you do that. Ugh, Air Force here at the at this statue spot. Never a fun boss to see. And with the leveling how it is, it's 8 times 2. Or rather 16 times 2. So our enemies are level 32, which is a little bit on the lower side, because I see Fitz's levels there are at like the high 30s. Falcon Hit Sabin is taking a bathroom break there at the tower. It's a weird spot, but okay. What is Javinator looking for in his trip outside of Kefka's tower here? Alright, so it looks like Zeno saves his 1 warp stone to warp back out. And he is going to overload the parties to do 2 on the left and 2 on the right. He will do a little bit of backtracking through the tower because he has to, go back and hit the switches again. But his bosses will go down faster normally with having his full party there. So it looks like Falcon Hit decided to warp out, and he's going to do the 2-1-1 here. So the battles will go faster for Falcon Hit than Zenobian, but Zenobian already has 3 bosses cleared out of the, or rather 2 bosses in the middle path cleared out of the way. Oh, maybe Falcon Hit was waiting for the hook and was out of warp stones. So what you can do if you're out of warp stones in Kefka's tower is you have to wait for that hook from the airship to come around to your party. And the easiest way to do it, as you saw on Falcon Hit's screen, is if you hit Y twice really fast, it actually goes right to your third party, and if you hit A, then you can get right up on the hook right away in case you screw up your party the first time into Kefka's tower. Again, this is something that I may or may not know from experience. Just saying. All right, well, I did put in the chat that the requirements are 2 of 3 objectives to unlock for Kefka's tower, so I hope Fitz realizes that and doesn't think it's 8 and 11 and 4 instead of 8, 11, 4, 2 of the 3. He's going to go to the Cave to the Sealed Gate here with Terra. I don't remember was at the end of this. I don't think it was a character, but we may not have seen it. All right, so we got 3 runners into Kefka's Tower. Zenobian has already cleared out the middle path here. Meanwhile, Falcon Hit is sending a party of 2 up through the middle, and then party of 1 on each of the sides. Javinator, I'm not quite sure, because I didn't see his party formation. Oh no, he already killed the 4th dragon, so he might be doing the same strat that Zenobian did, overload the middle, and then send warp out and come back and send 2 up the sides. We'll see. No, it looks like he's got a party of 3 here, so he probably did the same thing that Falcon Hit did. So he is just slightly behind Falcon Hit in terms of where they're at. Meanwhile, Zenobian, I think, is probably in the lead here. The thing with Worlds Collide is, since it is not a key item hunt, it's harder to tell at times who's in the lead. All right, so Jav is fighting another dragon here. Oof. Down goes Gogo and Mog. Fitz grabbing another Esper here. That is Fenrir. So I don't know how many of our other runners have that. So that's Calmness Protection for Tier 3. Now, if somehow Fitz can rattle off a couple of characters fast and kill a couple of dragons, then... oh, he found Shadow, which is character number 7. Yep, there it goes. And it looks like he's going to the floating continent. So I'm pretty sure Fitz either doesn't realize that it's 2 of the 3, or he doesn't want to fight any dragons. Which is certainly a thing. I am very dragon averse. They hurt. But as I mentioned earlier, I think that was the play, was to do characters and dragons, given how many Espers we needed. And Zenobian's given us our first look at one of the side statues, and it is a French Vanilla Guardian here. He's got Offering and Dice, though, so this should probably not take all that long. Oh, that's going to hurt. See you later, Sabin. I think Jav is just looking for levels for his other characters here. Because this is going to be his 6th dragon. So we talked about the other objectives with unlocking all of the sword techs with 2 of Phoenix Cave Dragon, South Figaro Cave, Floating Continent 1, and Mobliz. I actually think Fitz might be... No, because I don't know if he did Mobliz or not. Oh no, he did do Mobliz. So he'll get all 8 sword techs. I don't know if we've seen a sword tech user, though. And we definitely didn't get the high tier item one. That was 2 of 11 characters, 16 Espers, 41 checks for the Cave to the Sealed Gate Ninja. Just for reference, the most number of checks here looking at this is 1 free Fitz, and he's at 20. So you would need to do twice as many as Fitz has already done. Which is not going to happen. And that's the last boss down for Zenobian, who's going to be stepping on the Kefka switches here at a sub 1 hour pace, which is incredible. Meanwhile, Inferno is floating in the sky here. So this is the first boss of the Floating Continent Arrive, which is the first part of the Floating Continent. You do fight a second boss after this. However, there is a story heal in between it. Otherwise, that'd be incredibly brutal to fight 2 bosses in a row without a healing opportunity. Alright, and it is another difficult boss there for Fitz with Atma. So, Merton, remember I said, is a wind and fire elemental spell. Atma Weapon is susceptible to fire, but absorbs wind. So that's why you see Merton actually healed him, and this Pearl proc is also going to heal him, because he absorbs sort of the non-common 5 elements, earth, wind, water. I could say heart here and do a do a Captain Planet joke as I just realized what was going on. Alright, so Tier 1. For Zenobian, the long arm is susceptible to instant death, so that X-Fur Magitech attack will take care of that. The head is weak to fire and will death counter with Quake if it's the last thing left. So we want to take that out second or first. And then that big up bald fist is actually weak to water, but will counterattack everything we throw at him. This is mostly physical damage this tier, so this is really the armor check of Final Kefka. Esper number 9 on the ground for Fitz there. That is Odin. And just as I mentioned, he did get the 8 sword techs complete. I don't know if he has a sword tech user, but that's nice to have, just as utility. Welk is the only thing standing between Falcon Hit and his destiny with Kefka. Alright, so even though fixed dice with offering are a bit slow in their animation, they certainly can do a decent chunk of damage there. The other thing is that with an offering, you cannot target what the fixed dice actually hits. Javinator taking an unfortunate reset there. I think that was to Guardian? Yeah, he needed some elemental protection, because Guardian can be quite annoying with some of the spells that he throws out at you. We're up to Tier 2 for Zenobian, and on this tier we've got 4 different parts. The tools there in the middle is susceptible to instant death, so that's why you see X-Fur. And the guy pointing over on the left-hand side, that's magic, is susceptible to mute. So if we've got it, or we have the Siren Esper summon, we could take care of that. But I don't think we have, given that Zenobian only picked up 4 Espers this seed. Falcon Hit on the switches, 102.10, so that's about 3 minutes or so behind where Zenobian is. So this is still, a race, even though Zenobian's got, at least a little bit of a lead. Any mistake on Kefka is pretty brutal, and we talked about it a little earlier, calmness. If we don't have blocking for the instant death on Tier 3, that means we'll definitely lose at least one of our main characters, unless we get lucky with a block. Fitz up to double digits with the Espers now with Kieran. Strength +2. A little late in the seed for that, though. So when forming your party for Final Kefka, the character in the 4th slot goes first on tiers 2, 3, and 4. So usually you want to keep your instant death or your mute person or somebody that deals a lot of non-elemental damage for tier 3. So just a little strat there. Alright, so there's 2 more forced encounters for Fitz here in the last half of the Floating Continent prior to a boss. And he's guaranteed progression, so it's either his 8th character or his 11th Esper here. Javinator dealing with our Gruey boy, the Welk. which can be annoying just because of speed in the tower. If you don't kill him in the first 2 turns, he just wastes time on you. Gao down already for Falcon Hit. Hopefully he can get him back. So one thing that Tier 1 likes to do is they like to switch the rows of your characters, and that means you're going to get hit for the maximum damage with a physical attack. Zenobian taking down Tier number 2 with Edgar being morphed. So you can get into a state where you are permanently morphed if the morph timer runs out in between tiers. That's not going to happen for Falcon Hit as Edgar changes back, but it's still a possibility for Zenobian here if he kills this fast enough, and it'll take a little bit, but he might be able to do it. 11th Esper for Fitz there. So he just needs one more character for his go mode. You can talk to this lady in the shed, fight a battle, and get a free heal, so that's what he's doing there. That, to him, is his quickest heal possibility. And Javinator 105.15 is up to Final Kefka, so he's about 2 minutes behind Falcon Hit. So we got a pretty tight race here for those 3 particular runners. We'll see how Zenobian deals with Girl. So Girl is 9,999 HP, absorbs all elements, and will both heal and revive the bottom part of the boss, Sleep. So we want to use non-elemental attacks like Flare, or hitting her with a big sharp stick. Now, Zenobian doesn't have the same Illuminas that the rest of the runners do in his party composition. Here comes Train out from Sleep, so he must be under 10,000 HP. And that's when Zenobian decides, let's use the dice, and that is probably going to kill the bottom half here, and here will come the Calmness. Clutch block from Setzer, and ooh, our Illumina dual-wielding Edgar unfortunately goes down there. Alright, so he's lost one of his characters to Calmness. Falcon Hit's on tier number 2, but he's just starting tier 2, so he's got a lot of work to do to catch up some time here. Yeah, so in Worlds Collide, all of the commands are randomized. So in this particular seed, Edgar had Morph, so that's why Starfall that we saw Edgar as Esper Terra, basically. Alright, so Fitz is hopping into the tower with only 7 characters. So this means he'll probably kill the 2 dragons for his unlock of KT. So Kefka will cast Fallen 1 after the first turn, unless you do more than 30,000 HP, which it looks like Zenobian did. And then he's charging up here for Goner, which is his quote-unquote ultimate attack. And during this charge-up phase, he doesn't issue any counterattacks. He will, however, counterattack when not charging Goner with either Havoc Wing or Hyperdrive, which is the physical single target and magical single target highest damage attack in the game. If he's under 10,000 HP, then he has a chance to counter with Ultima, which is normally a party wipe because of how powerful the Ultima spell is. So it looks like Zenobian is going to take it a little slow here, going to heal up his party, and maybe he'll wait for another Goner charge so that he doesn't risk getting countered by an Ultima, which will certainly set him back to square one again. Javinator heading up to tier number 2, catching up with Falcon Hit. As Tiger is still alive for Falcon Hit, but he did have access to Mute, so Magic is out of the equation, and Tools is dead. There's a Havoc Wing on Realm, so that's what I was talking about. Lots of high-powered damage attacks that Kefka can bring out here. So this is sort of like a dance, you know, of making sure you don't do too much damage. Train is very annoying, because unlike in the vanilla game, the dark or blind status is actually fixed in this game. So evade matters, and we don't have access to our magical spells without a echo screen. And since consumables are expensive, right, they're 2,000 each, we don't normally have that. So we're going to get our party back up here. Realm using Heal Force with the Magitech command. And here we go, another charge up for Goner. So this is when we want to hit him with everything we got. Which means it's time for some fixed dice and some more Magitech. And hopefully those will get Zenobian over the hump. And that's it. That is time on the Crack Pow. Get your GGs in the chat for Zeno. Those are not the right runners. He does finish with a time in first place, 1:09.36. That's a really good time. Anything under a 1:30 is usually really good. This is under a 1:10, which is insane. So our Tournament of the Month winner for December is Zenobian, and what does that mean? Well, he gets some bragging rights for a little bit, and he also gets to pick a flag set to be entered into the drawing for whatever the next Tournament of the Month flags will be. So it's a huge prestige and honor, and Zenobian also takes down the 2-time-in-a-row champion Falcon Hit. So Falcon Hit is not going to three-peat here. You know, if we were playing a drinking game, that would mean that Falcon Hit gets to make a rule, right? Because if you win 3 in a row. Anyway, Falcon Hit is on tier 3 with those delicious offering sniper on our Gao here. And it looks like we are joined by Zenobian. Congratulations on your first place victory here in the Tournament of the Month. Awesome job.
Thank you, thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I could hear you perfectly fine. This is great. So tell us about your sort of strategy for this particular seed when you see that unlocking Kefka requires 2 of 8 characters, 11 espers, and 4 dragons.
Well, I immediately decided that I was going to be killing 4 dragons, and especially after getting 6 characters in a row, I knew that the esper objective was completely off the table.
Yeah, 11 espers is quite a lot. Fitz ended up getting the 11 espers. That's why he is sort of behind where both you and Javinator and Falcon Hit is, as Falcon Hit is heading up to Final Kefka now, and Javinator's on tier 2. So with access to YNPC remove, that also makes that decision a lot easier, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. You can take a few different routes with YNPC remove. A lot of people, if you're going for espers, then obviously Magitech is the play. But I decided not to go that route, and I kept on going. You know how the character logic works. You want to keep going to new character checks that you've just unlocked to find more characters. So I just kept following that, and Edgar paid off big time, having 2 characters in his castle.
Yeah, one down in the ancient castle, and the other one was sitting there on the throne. So
the barter aspect kind of fizzled out after about 10 minutes, unfortunately, for the theme. I found Illuminas and decided, okay, whoever can equip these is going to be in the party. And it took a while before we found anyone that could use them.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, unfortunately. We did start with Magitech on Realm and Rage on Gao, so we had at least, you know, some decent stuff to put us through some of those early game checks. But yeah, that's what you're certainly looking for. You also bought a bunch of ice rods in Nikea as well, and was able to use those to power through as, oh no, here's an ultimate counter on Falcon Hit, and oh! So he does tank it with 3 of his 4 characters up. 2 of them are in bad shape, though. So for your final Kefka fight, you waited for Goner to come out the second time in order to avoid that sort of thing. Were you worried about an ultimate counter as well?
Oh yes, I was trying to get Setzer's health back up at that point. He was the only person who had the max HP to even tank an Ultima. Everyone had around 2200 during that phase of the fight, and I was like, okay, I need to heal Setzer. Oh, I don't have any consumables. The only person who knows a cure spell is Setzer, and Realm just died. Okay, hold on, we need to wait a minute. And eventually, it came back around, and I was going to attack that round whether Goner came up or not, because Setzer had his 3000 HP, and I figured he would have gotten the job done, but I wanted to just be careful, just in case.
Yeah, I agree with that tactic. It's better to be safe than sorry sometimes. And Falcon Hit finishes in second place, 1:13.52, so a difference about 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So, yeah, this was a very tight one at the end for sure.
Glad to hear that. It's very good when it's a nice close race. Can you tell me how the lead was going into KT? Did I lose a lot of time taking the Walk of Shame?
No, so you were the first person on the switches. You did clear out your middle path with your strongest party, and then you took your other side parties with 2 and 2. So you did lose some time walking, back through the tower, but you also sort of make up some of that when you're fighting those fights at stronger characters, right? And you had enough of a lead where it wasn't a big deal.
I kind of figured I had a lead going in because I just got like the god route of characters, but the levels were so low because of that. I kind of felt like I had to take the whole party through. I even took the dragon on Route 3 because I'm like, I'm level 29. This ain't gonna cut it. We need some experience points, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, I saw. So Javinator actually was feeling under-leveled. He took the 2 extra dragons in the tower in order to level out his party because he split his 2-2-1-1. Same with Falcon Hit 2-1-1 as well. But yeah, I think it was enough of a lead. Plus, you also found the Illuminas. Falcon Hit did not because he just went after he got he saw you had Magitech. We got dried meat at the start, and he's like, "All right, well, let's go here. We could do Velt right away. We could do we could do Serpent Trench right away." So not as much shopping.
Yeah, I absolutely considered that, but I wrote down like a route that I'm going to do at the start. I said, okay, I'm going to do these 6 townish places at the start and go from there no matter what. So I did that, and at that point I had Illuminas, and no one could use them except Dumaro, so we decided to go from the Velt and go from there. And it worked out. It was okay. As soon as Edgar showed up, I was like, alright, we're fine now. Somebody can swing this stupid sword that we've been carrying around for ages.
Yeah, for sure. So, two other things before I let you go here. First, since you are the winner, you get to choose what flag set goes into sort of the pool to pull from for the next tournament of the month. Do you have any ideas, or can you give us a sneak peek as to what you're thinking?
Oh, I absolutely already know what I've been wanting to put something in ever since this event started. And it's something that I've played a lot, and Jexrock has played a lot. And I hope people are going to enjoy it.
Oh boy. I know how that sounds, so I will see what it is when it comes out, but I'm fully expecting to have a rough go of some of them.
It'll be great.
It'll be fine. Adversity makes you stronger. You certainly remember the times in Worlds Collide when you screw up more than the times that you did well, right?
Oh yes, I was worried I was going to have to walk back from Poltergeist because I didn't have any warp stones. That's why I checked after I got into KT. I was like, do I still have that last warp stone? I really hope I do.
Yeah, you did do the Walk of Shame out of one of the checks, just to keep that warp stone. I did notice that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, and then lastly is we did make an announcement that for the round 4 of the Coliseum, we are going to be using Locke's knife. And I don't know if you took a look at the flags yet, but basically you get auto haste for Coliseum, plus 10 speed, plus 5 vigor, minus 5 magic to start, and leading into the concept, always steal for Locke. The chests are 100% random. You have no starting gold. You do get 10 starting Phoenix Downs. The shops are random tiered. The prices are 150 to 200%. You can only sell things for a quarter, and you can buy Super Balls. So really leaning into the treasure hunter theme of, hey, I could steal stuff, and I got to go buy this expensive things. So any thoughts, and have you played that flag set yet?
I have not played that one yet, but just looking at it, I know it's going to be one of my favorites because I'm a loot goblin, and random chests is so much fun when they're 100% random. You just never know what you're going to find. You can find 7 Illuminas in a row. Weird things can happen. It's great. I love that kind of stuff. Always Steal is kind of tricky. You have to know a lot of vanilla game knowledge. But if you know that stuff, then you're going to be ahead of the game there.
Yep, awesome. So again, any other final thoughts before we let you go?
No, this was another great tournament of the month. Thanks to the Double Down and the rest for putting this on every single month. It's always great. And thanks to Schwantz for always restreaming us, seemingly twice a day, every day lately, putting in the work. Thanks, man. You're doing great.
Yeah, it's holiday season here, so my work is a little lax, so I'm able to do that. And I love doing the races, and it's thanks to, the runners that allow me to do this. So thank you, Zenobian, for allowing us to feature you as well. And again, congratulations on your win. And good luck next week. You're going up against... I just had it, and I talked about it before. Ensign Wesley in your next Coliseum match. So that should be a really good one. So looking forward to it for sure.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of the interviews. I'll catch you guys later.
All right, catch you later. Let's bring in both Falcon Hit and Javinator, who finished about, 2 minutes apart?
More like 4, I think.
More like 4. I'm sorry. The timer on the stream was different. So yeah, congratulations, guys, on a sub 120 finish. That's really, really good with this flag set. We'll first start with Falcon Hit. Your tactic seemed to be, well, I have Magitech, I have dried meat. Let's just go do checks.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Magitech round and I was like, I'm gonna do my best Jack imitation and just find either earrings or hero ring, because that's what I was looking for in Narsh and Albrook, and then I was just gonna go. The second I found him, and I was like, boom. Did anybody else keep Gao?
Yes, we had a few people keep Gao, including not Falcon Hit.
I totally did, though.
Yes, you definitely did, because you were using the offering with the sniper here, which was really fun to see. Always like seeing that. So actually I don't know if anybody else kept Gao.
That's a shame, because
Fitz has Gao in his party now, so.
Oh, nice. Part of the reason why I wanted to keep Gao is because in Circumstance I found the Fidor encounter, and recently I've been trying to remember the 2x damage ones, rages, and I was like, oh, fighter, perfect. And then I was like, I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna find Maneater or something.
Yep. So for Javinator definitely used Gao early in the seed. You took a little bit longer than the rest of the runners shopping, but after about 16 minutes, you're like, okay, I'm good. I found the Luminas for sale, which was nice to see. And you used Gao's Mover Rage with Merton to clear out some of that Serpent Trench early. That was really cool to see.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought, so I have Gao, I've got Mover, I really want to use it. I had some Commas protection, or not Commas, some Merton protection. And yeah, I knew Illuminas that were there, but I didn't know if I was going to get junky characters moving forward. And so we got no equipable. Basically, from the starting party, only Umaro could use it. And then eventually got Edgar, and super late got Celis as my 9th character. But so I was glad that I had them, but I didn't feel comfortable. I knew I had Realm was super go mode, especially after the hero ring. So I kept Gao for a really long time. And the only reason I picked up Celis and did the switch at the end was because I knew she could equip Luminas. I already had a bunch in the bank, and I had Genji Glove. And I didn't need to maintain that Merton protection if Gao wasn't in the party anymore. So I could have kept him, I guess, but Celis just seemed like a bit of a safer bet. I kind of regret it because she came on at such a low level. I did a bunch of extra fights to try to bring her up that I didn't need to when I killed 6 dragons.
The 2 dragons in the tower, yeah.
And that was mostly for her. I did the one with Realm, which I regret. But the one I did with her, I felt like I had to for the levels. So it may have been better to just keep Gao and plow forward with the party.
Yeah, so for this flag set, we were given 2 of the 3, 8 characters, 11 espers, 4 dragons for KT Skip. So Falcon Hit, when you see those numbers, are you thinking automatically there's no way I'm getting 11 espers? We're doing characters, dragons, especially with Y remove?
Definitely, but it really depended on what I found, right?
Mhm.
Because because there are times when you just get like 4 characters, and just you have the ability to get multiple espers, right? Because especially with wire move, you can access Match Tech Factory, which
Yep.
is sometimes 2 characters or 2 espers, sorry. So I was just like, oh, it depends on what I'm finding, but I fully expected it to be characters and dragons.
Yeah, so same
that's-
question for you, Jav, with, seeing those requirements at the start. Did you automatically know which way you wanted to go, or, when the seed gave us, I think, like 6 characters off the bat, you were like, all right, I'm forgetting about espers now?
Yes. I had the same mentality as Falcon Hit. Technically, it could be a low character, high Esper seed. You don't know right at the start. But yeah, when I went like 6-0 or 7-1 or whatever it was very obvious it was going to not be doing skip because the dragons were all accessible like right away, and I'm like 1 character from skip. So unless things go terribly wrong, which they did because then I got 8th and 9th characters, it became really obvious not going for skip was the play.
So I did talk to Zenobian about what his next flag set will be for the Tournament of the Month pool, and he kept me in the dark a little bit, but he said it's something that him and Jexvarok have been playing with for a while, so that scares me a lot. But Falcon Hit, you said you were running out of ideas anyway, so maybe this is a blessing in disguise, huh?
For sure, for sure.
All right, so for Coliseum 2, we'll switch gears a little bit here. We did make an announcement that next round is going to be Locke's Knife. And just to get you the quick, 30-second rundown on it, start with Locke with always steal, plus 10 speed, plus 5 vigor, minus 5 magic, auto haste for winning in the Coliseum, and leaning into the treasure hunter theme, 100% random chests, no starting gold, 10 Phoenix Downs, random tiered shops, 150 to 200% priced shops, selling at a fraction of 1/4 instead of the normal 1/2, but we could buy super balls. So we'll start off with Javinator first. Have you gotten the chance to play any of the Locke flag sets, and what does this sound like to you, just hearing it out loud?
Interesting. I find Steel an interesting command, particularly when it's buffed. It really favors people with a lot of game knowledge because the steals are vanilla. So that's an interesting one for sure. I only know kind of some of the good bosses, so some people who know the grind fights and are able to pick up some like really nice side items from finding a grind are going to be at an advantage, which is kind of cool. I always like seeing game knowledge rewarded, even if it's not knowledge that I have. That auto haste is absolutely mandatory. Coliseum.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like super balls are in there, but it's a bit of a flip of the coin whether or not you find them. So it's cool that they're there, but unless the seed itself is very slow, I'm probably not going to go searching for them. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to play any of the seeds yet, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Falcon Hit, you will be going up against Green Monkey in your matchup here. So, thoughts on the Locke flag set that you two will have to use next week?
It's a really fun flag set. The auto haste makes things that are more powerful that you wouldn't expect, right? Because before the Coliseum, I made it my goal to play each of the flag sets at least 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that auto haste makes jumpers much better because they like real time their attack is much faster, and 100% trust organization is always great. You love to see it.
Yeah, we're gonna be digging in our sweet chests for some goodies there. A little less reliant perhaps on shopping because they're expensive and they're random tiered, so they're not going to be as good. As One Free Fits does finish there, 128.18. That is a really good time considering that he, unlike everybody else, went the Esper route instead of the character route. He just didn't go to the character checks, which is very odd. So, but yeah, anyway, so any other final thoughts, Jav, before we get you out of here?
Just thanks for the host and everything. I didn't get the chance to talk to Zenobian, but 109's awesome, so GG on that time. And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, again, thank you for allowing us to rebroadcast. You can't have the races without the runners, so I appreciate that. And good luck in your match against Drew sometime this week. I don't know when it's going to be.
Tomorrow night, probably 9 or 9:30, and I absolutely need the luck. So thank you.
Yep. So good luck on that, and hopefully we will see you in round 4.
Right on. Thanks.
All right. And Falcon Hit, you got anything else before we let you go here?
My only regret this seed is that when I was doing my initial routing, I was like, oh, I should check Umaro's cave because it might save me time in the future. And then I didn't. And then I went to do Umaro's cave and it was 2 items. So that cost me like 7 minutes. It was also Poltergeist up there, which was like the most harrowing fight of my life.
Yeah, it was pretty awful for everybody involved. I think Fitz was the only one who actually got the item out of the Yeti cave, and I don't even remember what it is. So let's ask him. Let's bring him in here fast. One free Fitz. Congratulations on your sub 130 finish. That's a pretty good time considering you got 11 espers instead of the 8 characters here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it though? Because I looked at the times in the race room, and yeah, I mean, I think considering I was going fast.
No, I thought you're going very fast, and I'm sorry Falcon Hit ducked out of here before I could thank him for allowing us to stream for him. I was going to ask you, do you remember what you got from Yeti Cave? Because I think you're the only person that got it, and I didn't remember what
Dead.
it was. No, I know it was dead, but what was it? Do you
it was like a red cap. It was real garbage.
Oh, yikes. Well, you unfortunately ran into a lot of dead checks early. Three in a row, and then Owser's Mansion, a 4th one. You seem to do the Dragon's First strategy that I think a lot of the other runners did, but you just happened to not run into like the character checks that the other runners did.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see, going back to watch the race after the fact, kind of a little bit of where that divergence when I got the 6 characters and I was like, okay, I only need 2 more, and then I'm going to the tower because even though I had those dead checks, I got some chunky experience fights early on. My levels were insane, so and I found those flame shields, so I was just like, I just gotta get requirements, and then I can hit the tower, and then, a long journey later, I finally got that 11th Esper.
Yeah, so what Falcon Hit and Zenobian described to me was their strategy was, well, we start out with 3 characters. We only need 5. Let's see what the first couple of checks do. And since usually characters beget more characters with the way the Worlds Collide algorithm works, let's go to the character checks that we just accrued, and they'll lead to more characters, certainly. So that's exactly how it happened. So Falcon Hit and Zenobian only collected 4 espers. Javinator only collected 3 espers. So if that was the way you wanted to go, because the Edgar route was Mog at the engine room and then Celeste down in the ancient castle. So that would have been your 8 characters there. If you did the 6 that you got plus Edgar, that was the way to go. So
yeah, I was a little irritated early because it was just like I was 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
I had done a bunch of checks. I still didn't have any progress because I removed into Magitech Factory early, thinking like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a tasty character in here, and I got, I think, 1, maybe 2 espers out of it. So that was a bust. Yeah, in practice, I had been getting a lot of higher dragon requirements, and I was going straight for dragons. But with just 2, I didn't feel the need, and I don't know. I was kind of all over the place. I got flustered early and was really just trying to press the pedal. I will say that final Kefka fight was really fast.
Yeah, for certain. That's what happens when you gain a lot of levels from doing, both Floating Continent and Magitech Factory.
Yeah, and I got like double Gigantos somewhere too. Like,
Oh yeah, that's right, because I saw it in the Velt. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a interesting seed. It was a fun flag set, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what Zenobian is going to come up with. Did they give any hints?
Yeah,
What
so I
they've been
talked to
thinking
him
about?
about it briefly, and he basically kept me in the dark a little bit, but he said that him and Jexrox had been practicing it. So hearing those two names, I immediately think to
Oh
myself,
no!
I'm going to hate this. Because I know they like to run a lot of, more difficult, tougher seeds. And some tough seeds I enjoy, but then others I'm just like, why am I doing myself? Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually I've messed around a little bit. I think it's hard to design a seed that's hard all the way through without, getting ridiculous with it.
Right.
Even some of the like draft asyncs that have had like tough enemies, which is what, like plus 10 enemy levels, and scaling is 3 times progression.
Yeah, you could do some really nasty stuff with the draft. Let's see here. So we're currently doing a draft right now. Hefe drafted tough enemies, which isn't even the worst. The scaling is 3 times progression, and the HP scaling is 1.5 times party highest. So they are chunky bosses. Plus 7 extra levels, and max scaling is 65. So that's tough, but it's not as bad as rough.
Yeah.
Which is level scaling 1.5 times party highest. HP scaling is 3 times progression, and max scaling is 99 with 22 extra levels to start. So that one's is far worse. But once you get over that hump and get to levels like, 30s to 40s, you could basically kill most stuff in the game, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it's a lot of those. It's like the early going is where it's very, very hard to like catch up, starting behind on the progression already. But a lot of times those towards the end get where it's just like, well, the enemies can't kill me, but they have so many hit points.
It just is a time sink, yeah.
So yeah, I'll be definitely curious to see.
Well, switching
What's
gears
next?
a little bit to Coliseum 2, you are in the upper bracket of the tournament. You'll go up against Taco Mage next week, and we're going to be doing Nox? Wow, it's a hard knock life. Locke's Knife. My Lizdexia got me a bit there. He's got plus 10 speed, plus 5 vigor, minus 5 magic. Auto haste is the reward for the Coliseum. Steal chances are always to go along with Locke. Chests are 100% random. Starting gold is nothing. Starting Phoenix Downs are 10. Shops are random tiered. They are 150 to 200% priced. You sell for a quarter, not a half, and Super Balls are on. So it seems like we're going to do a lot of treasure digging and not as much shopping, perhaps, with this flag set. And then the Auto Haste Coliseum is probably a must-do, or as early as you can. So thoughts on Locke's Knife for next week?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to refresh myself on the old tiered
Steel.
shops and the steals. Yeah, definitely. I mean, those are pretty situational, but I think sometimes those little things can certainly give an edge. The shop prices and the low starting gold. Yeah, we'll see some loot heavy checks. I mean, we can. The nice thing is we'll always be able to go into like the Phoenix Cave and do that Narsh World of Ruin check right away. But I think I agree. Coliseum, auto haste, the speed, the plus 5 magic that kind of lends itself towards. Oh yeah, -5 is what I meant. Lends itself towards more hit stuff parties generally, but yeah. I think I practice it because it's higher up on the list I remember practicing like Terra, Locke, and maybe who's the next one? Edgar, and then I started at the bottom, and then I was doing like Umaro and like Go-Go. So
started at the bottom. Now we here. So yeah, the random tiered shops basically means that shops will be worse overall because different shops will have different tiered equipments in them. Basically, is my understanding. So higher tier items and equipment are less likely to be chosen to be put in those shops. And shop inventory sizes are basically shuffled as well, so they're not going to be the same as what they are in vanilla.
Okay.
So it's going to be worse in the shops because not only are they higher priced, you don't get to sell for a lot, and you don't start with any gold. But random tiered also means that higher tier items are less likely to be in there anyway. 100%. Random chests plus always steal means that's kind of how we should probably get most of the higher end items. I would think that for consumables, going to the shops is still good, but the other stuff we're gonna have to get it in chests probably. So
yeah, and the Super Balls are nice, but they're pretty expensive, so it'd be interesting to see kind of how that balances out. The Coliseum, I don't know, maybe I'll spend a little bit more time there getting stuff as opposed to the usual one fight and leave.
Yeah. Well, it's also the case if you steal like some crappy items, you could turn them into something much better in the Coliseum too, right? So.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, any other final thoughts before we get you out of here for the evening?
Yeah, GG's to the other racers. Congrats to Zenobian. I was in the same division with them in season 1 of the Ultros League, so it's no surprise to see them going real fast. And I look forward to more racing.
Yeah, I had Jav and Zeno in my division this year, or this season rather, of Ultros League, and it was very difficult to win matches. I did end up winning a couple of them, I think, but most of the time I was like 4th and 5th place, which doesn't really help. So, all right, awesome. Well, thank you again, Fitz, for allowing us to broadcast your run. Appreciate it. Can't have this without you, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
All right, and with that being said, I think that is going to do it for me, the Schwantz27 here. ff6wc.com is our website. We also have a link to our Discord where you can get involved with the community. We could help you out in getting started if you're interested in doing this sort of randomizer. We're on Twitter at ff6_WC, Instagram at ff6wc, and on YouTube, ff6 Worlds Collide is the channel where we are uploading our Coliseum event matches pretty much every day. We got a couple going live tomorrow. And other than that, thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week at this same time slot on some SpeedGaming channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. And we'll catch you then. Bye-bye now.